Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video I am going to be reviewing the ColourPop Blush Crush / Nude Mood collection. I have the palettes as well as the lip tints to review for you guys today. I'm only missing the highlighters, so sorry about that. I didn't pick that up, but you guys know how my reviews go down. I'll give you guys my thoughts on this entire collection, show you guys some swatches, comparisons, and then you'll see my 3 looks. So pretty much the whole shebang. So if you guys are curious to hear about all of that, then just continue watching. Okay, first off, we need to address the packaging because the packaging is the most beautiful packaging I've ever seen. I think this would have to be my favorite packaging from ColourPop, and I know I do say that quite often with a lot of collections, but this just beats everything. This is such a mood. It's so dreamy, so simple, so romantic. I wanted to do this collection first because I thought it would be suitable for Valentine's Day. I just wanted to review this before anything else because I thought it's such a beautiful collection for Valentine's Day. So hopefully one of my 3 looks maybe you guys can wear for Valentine's Day, but I just had to talk about the packaging because the packaging is beautiful and I think that translates really well into the collection. But first I should give you guys some product info and some pricing details. So there are 2 palettes in this collection, Nude Mood, Blush Crush. These are $14 US each. They don't have a mirror in it like the typical 9 pans do. It is in the cardboard packaging, which is typically $2 more than the one that's in the plastic with the mirror. But you can get these in a set for $24 US, so you do save $4 if you buy them together. There are also 2 Just a Tint lip crayon duos, Sweetest Thing and Can't Bear It. They kind of go with each palette, and these are $14 US each as well. But if you do want to buy the shades separately, it is $8 US. So it is cheaper buying it in a duo. You do save a bit of money there. And there's also 2 highlighters that I didn't pick up, and I didn't actually realize that they're Super Shock highlighters. Usually the Super Shock highlighters come in the little tub, but this one comes in a pan. It actually looks like the Soul Body highlighters, the one in like the giant pans. That's really different, and I kind of want to try it out now because I want to see if like you can actually put the Super Shock highlighters in a pan like that. Let me know if you guys have tried it, and if you guys like it, let me know which shade you're liking. So that was all of the product info. Now let's jump into my review and let's talk about the palettes first, because to me eyeshadows are always the most exciting thing in every collection. I just love eyeshadows. It's my thing. So we have 2 here, 2 beautiful palettes. Like I said, the packaging really translates into the palettes, and I think these palettes are beautiful. Just overall, these 2 palettes, they are so dreamy, and I love the tones in here. They're like more of that neutral, like muted vibe. I always describe eyeshadows in a muted way that I like. Give It To Me Straight is a good example. It gives me that muted vibe. I don't even know if that makes sense. There's something to these palettes that I just love so much and I really gravitate towards. So first let's talk about Nude Mood, which is more of the warmer palette, and I would say this palette is literally a mini version of Double Entendre. I forgot which way is the correct way to pronounce it. I think it's Double Entendre. Okay, so Double Entendre. Double Entendre is one of my favorite ColourPop palettes ever. It's in my top 10 for sure, but I actually think I like this palette a little bit more than that. This one is definitely warmer, and everything is just true to the color that you see in the pan. And what I like about this palette is that everything in this palette is useful. There are no shades wasted, and I feel like for a 12 pan, sometimes you won't use every single shadow in the palette. Even if you like the palette generally, you might not wear every single shadow in the palette. But I think when it comes to a 9 pan, it's more selective, that I feel like this palette, I would use every single shade. Like there's no shade like I would neglect because everything is just so useful, and this is probably one of my favorite palettes from ColourPop now. And I know I say that a lot, and I'm gonna do an updated like my favorite palettes from ColourPop, ranking them in a whole collection video. I'm gonna do that soon, but I just feel like they keep releasing palettes that I don't know when to do it, when's like a good time to like, you know, do it. But I will do it and I will rank them, but just know that this palette is gonna be very high up, like really high up in my ranking. Because it's much smaller than the 12 pan, this is definitely a palette that I would like to travel with. I like the amount of mattes you get in here. So you get 6 mattes and 3 metallics. All the mattes are just so useful. You get a matte white to sit down your base, to highlight. You get a light transition, kind of like a little bit deeper transitions, a medium tone and a dark brown. And then all of the metallics in here are so different. So you get a light, medium, dark metallic. It's just perfect. The finishes, the range, just the variety, everything in here is just so well done. When I first saw the Going Coconuts palette, I feel like this is what I wanted Going Coconuts to be, but Going Coconuts to me just seemed so neutral and a little bit grey and ashy on me. Actually, this metallic shadow on top, it feels like a Super Shock shadow, and I love that. I love how there's like two metallics and the Super Shock is so pretty. Like, I love this palette so much. Like, I would highly recommend it. I do want to mention that some of these mattes in here do have a lot of fallout and kickback when you dip it into the pan. When you're playing on your eyes, I don't experience that much fallout where it's a concern. I personally have seen over ColourPop's palettes that they have two different kinds of mattes. That one matte, when you like swatch it and you feel it, it's a little bit more dry, and that's not saying it in a bad way, it's just texture wise it feels a bit more dry and there's less kickback with that. But then there's another type of matte, when you swatch it, it's very smooth, very buttery, but there's a lot of kickback with that. And I think it just depends shade to shade formulation wise, but not all the mattes are exactly the same like texture wise. They all perform pretty much the same. I mean, there are some mattes that are patchy, but that's like with any brand. But yeah, just to like let you guys know that there is like a different kind of mattes. And I would say for the most part, these three down here have that like really buttery texture, and it has a lot of kickback to it. I don't know if that's a bother to you guys, it's not a bother to me, but I just wanted to let you guys know. Then we have Blush Crush. First off, Blush Crush, anything with the word crush in it, I'm just a little bit more biased to it. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, there is a Korean R&B singer and I'm obsessed with him. He's one of my favorite artists ever. I'm just that fangirl, you know? But when I saw this, I was like, yes, give it to me. When I first saw this collection, I actually thought I would like Blush Crush more than Nude Mood. But after playing around with it a little bit more, I do like Nude Mood a little bit better than Blush Crush. I just expected Blush Crush to be a little bit more like Give It To Me Straight vibes. And when you look at it, I personally, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is Give It To Me Straight for sure. But when I played with it, these shades actually look a little bit more vibrant and more pinky and purple. But I do like this palette. I just thought it would have been more of like an everyday approach. You can make it more everyday, but to me this is a little bit more outside of my everyday kind of tones, but it's still wearable for everyday. So again, in this palette there are 6 mattes and 3 metallics. Well, 2 metallics, 1 Super Shock. But with the 3 mattes, it is that formulation. It's kind of like Tati's satin formulation where it's a matte base and it has glitter in it. I personally feel like I would have just kept it as it's matte, because typically with these satin shades, once you blend it out, I feel like typically that's how you would use a matte shadow or these kind of shadows, is you would work it into your eyes. The glitters just kind of disappear, and I feel like because it has a little bit of glitter in it, it does interfere a little bit with how it looks in your eyes. It needs a little bit longer to blend out. I'm not saying that this palette is bad or that the mattes don't blend out as nicely. I just feel like it needs a little bit more time to blend out. I just wasn't wowed by it. But then for this eye look that I'm wearing today, I mixed the 2 palettes together and I love it. I love how it looks. I just love the combination of the warms and the mauves. Just still a little bit unsure with this palette, because typically when it comes to my 3 looks, I do 3 looks on each palette. But for this review, I did one look, and then a look together, so I didn't get to play with it as much as I would like. I think this is a palette that I can grow on. I just need to play around with it a bit more, so I'm still kind of like, you know, so about it. But if you like the tones in here, I think you would really enjoy this palette. Now let's talk about the Just a Tint lip crayons. If you guys are new to my channel, this is the first video you're ever seeing of mine. The Just a Tint lip crayons are my favorite lip formula from ColourPop ever. I love it so much. It's literally what I wear on my lips like 90% of the time. I just adore this formulation. It just feels so comfortable on your lips. I'm not a person that likes matte lips or liquid lipsticks. I just find them to be too drying on my lips because I already have dry lips. I like glosses, creamy lipsticks, and these Just a Tint lip crayons. They're just so perfect. Every time they release new shades, I get so excited because I'm like, yes, this collection is expanding. I love it. I just need more of it. So first, let's talk about the Sweetest Thing duo, which complements recommends the Blush Crush palette. It will come with the shade Always Right and Feel Good. So these you can buy separately if you don't want to get it in the duo, but you do save money if you do buy it in the duo. So first we have Always Right. I typically would not wear a shade like this, to be honest, just because it is like a very Barbie cool tone pink, and I just feel like that doesn't look really good against my skin tone. It's a little bit too light for me, but you definitely can make these work just because they're more of like a sheer formula. You can always blot it out and it's very wearable. So I feel like if I'm wearing a very like pinky eye look, this lip shade would suit it well. It's just not my go-to shade that I would typically go for. However, we have Feel Good, and this is the lip color that I am wearing on my lips now. This shade to me is kind of like my lips but better, a little bit more rosy, a little bit darker than my natural lip color. Whenever I do an eye look like this where it's a little bit more rosy, a bit more mauvey, I love pairing a lip color that's a little bit more pinky based, and this is probably gonna be my go-to one to pair it with any eye look of this color story. I just love monochromatic looks. And then the other duo we have is Can't Bear It, and this obviously goes with Nude Mood, and the shades that you would get in here is Overexposed and More Than Ever. So Overexposed is my other favorite. I adore this one so much. It gives me Rise and Shine vibes where it has that orangey peachy tone. I would say Rise and Shine is a little bit more lighter and more orangey. This one's a little bit deeper, but not too much, but it's so wearable and I adore this shade so much, you guys. Definitely my kind of tone. And then the last shade is More Than Ever. This is a little bit more deeper, and I think this shade is beautiful as well, but I typically wouldn't reach for this as much just because it's a little bit more deeper. It's like a deeper version of Overexposed. So maybe if you had a deeper complexion, you might like this one a little bit more than I do. So that was everything I had to say about the collection. Now I want to give you my recommendations. Maybe you can feel from this review that I feel quite positive about this collection. I genuinely did enjoy every product that I got to try from this collection, but if I have to give you like my top recommendations, like I'm gonna use this every single day, ride or die kind of products, then I would say my first recommendation would have to be Nude Mood. I know it does look like a very dupeable palette, and you probably could dupe it. You guys will see in my comparisons, but I just think it's nice to have it in a 9-pan palette like this. Very easy to pack with you if you are traveling. And then I would recommend two of the Just a Tint lip crayons, Feel Good and Overexposed. Unfortunately, these two don't come in the same duo. They come in separate duos, so if you want to buy it separately, it is a little bit more expensive. But these two shades, I just know I'm going to be wearing these so much that you guys are gonna get so sick of me wearing them. It's gonna happen, you know? This is a collection where I can recommend something to you guys where I feel so strongly behind it, and it's like gonna be a holy grail. Sometimes with reviews, when I give my recommendations, I'm just giving you recommendations. If you wanted to buy something, this is what I would get, but not necessarily like holy grail products, if that makes sense. But these products are like, they're going in my top drawer. I love them so much. But yeah, that was my recommendation. That was my review. We can now move into the swatches, comparisons, and then my 3 looks. So I hope you guys will enjoy all of that. So for the first look, we're gonna start off with the Nude Mood palette. I'm gonna take the shade Mugged Off, and this is going to be our transition shadow. I'm gonna work that straight into the crease using windshield wiping motions as always. I do want to drag this shadow right to the outer third and outer corner of my eyes, and I'm really dragging this very fast. So I take a product that has a flat edge, press that up against my eye, and then work the product against it, so that way you'll get a really sharp line, and it'll really help you create this cat eye shape. It does seem quite intimidating because you are dragging this shadow so far out. So if you want to do your eyes first, and then you can take a makeup wipe and clean that up. But if you like to do your base first, then this is a great way to get a sharp edge. I also take this onto my lower lash line as well. I'm just going to run that from the outer corner right to the inner corner, and you can see at the outer corner I am connecting those shadows, so at the end of it the whole eye look can complete together as one. Next, moving into the shade the Cocoa, I'm going to work this at the outer third of my eyes to really build up some depth and darkness. I want the outer corners to be the darkest because I really want to create this cat-eyed, elongate eye look. Again, I do go in with the flat edge product to really get that intense line, or you can go in with some loose powder and really carve out that sharp line that you want to create. Both ways will work, just depending on what's easier for you. But I also take the shadow onto my lower lash line as well, but this time I'm only focusing it at the outer third and connecting those shadows at the outer corner. Now going into Moody, I'm doing exactly the same thing by just focusing this at the outer third to really deepen out the eye look. And then I'm also going to take the shadow onto my lower lash line as well, but just at the outer third once again, making sure you are connecting the shadows. We just want that outer corner to be super dark. Now I am taking Wink Wink. I am going to apply this at the inner third of my eyes. At first I use the shadow dry just to get a good base down and get those little glitters to really sparkle through, and then I'll use it wet on top of it just to enhance it and make it more pigmented and vibrant. This Super Shock shadow is definitely a standout shade because it's so beautiful against the eyes. I love the little specks of glitters that peek through. It's so subtle, but it's such a statement at the same time. You can see around the crease area I am blending that shadow out, so it's not like a cut crease, it's a very soft diffused look. I might also take this into my inner corners as well as my brow bone to highlight those areas. Now I am taking my ColourPop BFF liquid liner in the shade Grande. I'm going to use this to line my lash line and also give myself a wing. But then I'll go back into Moody to really smoke out and blend out this wing because I don't want it to be so dramatic. I didn't want the wing to take over the whole eye look, so I diffused it out into the eyeshadows. And to complete the eye look, I took the ColourPop Creme Gel Liner in the shade Get Paid, and I used this to tightline my entire bottom waterline. And this, you guys, is the first look completed with the Nude Mood eyeshadow palette. For my lashes today, I am wearing the Natalia Lights from House of Lashes. And for my lip pairing, I went with the Just a Tender Lip Crayon in the shade Overexposed, which comes in this collection. For a warm smoky eye like this, I love pairing like a dusty rose lip color, and this one was just perfect with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first look. This is definitely an eye look that I typically would wear in my non-filming days and my days off. So I really enjoyed creating this first look, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And now onto the second look. We're gonna go into the Blush Crush palette. I'm first gonna take the shade Made You Blush, and I'm gonna use this as my transition shadow. I'm gonna work that straight into my crease using windshield wiping motions, blending that up towards my brow bone. I'm also gonna take this shadow onto my lower lash line as well, just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. Now I am taking Hell Rogue and I'm going to start packing this onto my lid space. I'm going to pack the pigmentation on there first and then I'll slowly start blending that up towards my crease area. This will ensure that most of the pigmentation is on our lids and then you can slowly see that gradient by blending that up towards your transition. I'm also going to take this onto my lower lash line as well, but I'm going to really press this up against my waterline instead of diffusing it out. Next, I am taking blush wine. I'm doing exactly the same thing, but I am using a smaller brush. So I'm going to focus it more towards my lid space and not bring it up too high into my crease area. And once again, I'm just going to take that onto my lower lash line and smudge that out. Now I am taking the shade Blossom Up and I'm going to use this shadow wet. I'm first going to dab this at the center of my eyes because I want the most pigmentation to be there because that's where the light is going to catch the reflex the most. So placing it right at the center and then sweeping it left and right to blend it out. I will take it past my crease area as well. It's going to be a very soft diffused halo eye. And then taking Popper Bottle, I'm going to use this to highlight my inner corners as well as my brow bone. Just taking a liquid liner, I'm going to use this to align my lash line, and then taking a black eyeshadow, I'm going to use this to smudge out that liquid liner. And now I'm taking the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Best O, and I'm going to use this to tightline my entire bottom waterline. And this, you guys, is the second look completed using the Blush Crush palette. For my lashes, I am wearing the Natalia Lights from House of Lashes once again. And for my lip pairing, I am wearing the Just a Tint lip crayon in the shade Feel Good, which is from this collection. But I hope you guys enjoyed the second look. It's a little bit more darker, more dramatic, sultry and sexy. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this second look. Alright, and now on to the final look. I will be taking the shade Cheek to Cheek, and this is going to be my transition shadow. I'm going to place that straight into my crease using windshield wiping motions as always. But you want to make sure you are blending this up towards your brow bone because we are going to be doing a half cut crease for this look. So I need some product very high up towards my brow bone. Next, I am going into the shade The Cocoa, and I'm going to start working the shadow at the outer third of my eyes first, and then I'll bring any of that product left on my brush towards the inner third of my eyes. At first, it's always going to look a little bit like a smoky eye, but once we cut the crease, everything changes into a completely different eye look. But in the beginning, it can just look like a typical smoky eye. Next, I am going into Moody, and I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing, just packing that at the outer third of my eyes. Moody is a very important part to a cut crease because it's the darkest shadow, so it's going to create the most contrast against the half cut crease. So it's important to make sure you are getting some of this product into the inner third of your crease area. Now I'm taking my P. Louise eyeshadow base, and I'm going to use this to cut out my crease. You can always use concealer if you like, but I like to use this P. Louise base to do so. I'm just going to place that at the inner third of my eyes and kind of map out how I want the cut crease to look like. And then I'll take a thinner paintbrush and I'll use this to really define and cut the crease out, making it very, very sharp. Next, I am taking Enamored, and I'm going to be using this shadow wet. I'm going to place that right on top of that P. Louise base, making sure you are not going past the cut crease line. We want this to be very defined. Taking Meiji Blush and How Rogue, I'm gonna mix the two and I'm gonna use this to blend out the metallic in towards the matte by just stamping where they meet, and swiping left and right is going to help diffuse seamlessly in towards the matte shadows. Now I am taking my BFF liquid liner in the shade Grande. I'm going to use this to line my eyes as well as give me a wing. For a cut crease look, I always like doing a sharp, intense wing. Moving back into the shade Cheek to Cheek, I'm going to run this all over my lower lash line, just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. And once again, going back into the shade Moody, I'm going to press this up against my bottom waterline just to define it a little bit more. And now to complete the eye look, I'm taking the cream gel liner in the shade Get Paid, and I'm going to use this to tightline my entire bottom waterline. And this, you guys, is the final look completed. It is a mix of Nude Mood and Blush Crush. I really liked how this turned out. I love the tones mixed together. It's warm, but it's also quite mauvey and berry, so I love the two color stories coming together as one. But for my lashes, I am once again wearing the Natalia Light from House of Lashes. And for my final lip pairing, I went with the Just a Tinted Lip Crayon in the shade Feel Good. And that, you guys, was all of my 3 looks completed. Make sure to let me know down below which look out of the 3 was your favorite. They are all different since I was using different palettes for each look. But let me know anyway which look was your favorite. I would love to hear your feedback. If you guys did enjoy this video and found it helpful, be sure to give the video a thumbs up for me. I would appreciate it so much if you did. That is it for today's video. Super long as always, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!